Hey, and how are you doing on this wonderful Wednesday? It is April 1st, 2020 on the Morning Star Drive at 117.8. Come subscribe and hit the bell on YouTube, follow us on SoundCloud, and support us on Patreon. So today we're going to hear some coronavirus updates. Also, the question, is the coronavirus just a flu? And we'll look into the Sunday message point. Don't forget to do God's will until the end. Great. So I hope that everyone is having a wonderful Wednesday thus far. And it's time for us to first get into our featured artist of the day. Now, today's featured artist is a request. Comes all the way from Malaysia. Her name is Yongmin, and she wants to hear Mariah Henry's song, 1+1, after seeing the interview in last week's Sunday edition. So, we're going to first take a look at 1+1 from the At the Start album from Mariah Henry, and the single after that will be a new single from Aiden Verity called Cameron Fry Takes a Stand.
Takes more than one life. You gotta work to match in quality and content. You might find out the one is only doesn't work the same. Don't be phony. Can I play a game? Without your team, it's on me for life. Stand up, we gotta scream the name. I hear them calling radio waves. It's no telepathy. We talking through the sound of one heart. Speed out the Trinity. My counterparts love from the start. The blood flow in my veins. It's time to top the charts. The power starts. I'll always call his name. After 100 years, after 1,000 years, I'll be here for eternity. I'm stuck on you, Lord. 1+1. Look at us, we're a pair, the head and body here. So easy, just like 1+1. Faster and stronger, better when we're together. The lock, the key, the pen, the ink, a thousand square high level. The inside and the out, oh yeah, he raised me. We live together now, some might say that I'm crazy. Come find your counterpart and fall in love too, we'll sing. Look at the harmony, the beauty in this history. We match in every way, don't hesitate to follow me. Come find your counterpart and fall in love too, we'll sing. Love is one and it doesn't change. Passionate ones at the top of the chain. Kings of the sky, you know eagle is the name. On love every day, never can and never change. After 100 years, after 1,000 years, I'll be here for eternity. I'm stuck on you, Lord. 1+1. Look at us, we're a pair, the head and body here. So easy, just like 1+1. Faster and stronger, better when we're together. The lock, the key, the pen, the ink, a thousand square high level. The inside and the out, oh yeah, he raised me. We live together now, some might say that I'm crazy. Come find your counterpart and fall in love too, we'll sing. Look at the harmony, the beauty in this history. We match in every way, don't hesitate to follow me. Come find your counterpart and fall in love too, we'll sing. In a world where love needs you to be one. Just like the earth and the moon, we pair up and it's so beautiful to be in love with you. The inside and the out, oh yeah, he raised me. We live together now, some might say that I'm crazy. Come find your counterpart and fall in love too, we'll sing. Look at the harmony, the beauty in this history. We match in every way, don't hesitate to follow me. Come find your counterpart and fall in love too, we'll sing.
I'm ready to take the heat. I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car and and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I'm ready to take the heat. I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car, and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I made myself small. I hid in a corner. I played the good girl. Not this time, no longer. I made myself small. I hid in a corner. I played the good girl. Not this time, no longer. I'm ready to take the heat. I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car, and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I made myself small. I hid in a corner. I played the good girl. Not this time, no longer. I made myself small. I hid in a corner. I played the good girl. Not this time, no longer. I'm ready to take the heat. I'm ready to take a stand. I'm not gonna stand for this being pushed around again. I hate to see you kiss your car, and then you go and hate your girl. So hit me with all you've got, 'cause I'm ready to face you now. I'm ready to face you. I'm ready to. I'm ready to. I'm ready.
And that was Cameron Fry Takes a Stand from Aiden Verity. And of course, the first song was from Mariah Henry. And that song was what? It was 1+1. Those of you who haven't checked out our interview on the Sunday edition, go check it out. It's not this last Sunday, but the Sunday before that. This Sunday, what did we hear? We heard an interview with Yen Yin Yap. So come listen to that too. And next week, we also have another amazing interview on Sunday from a member in South Africa. So this brings us now to our updates for Corona. So Corona updates. Wow, like I had this all prepared and ready to go, and then I checked the stats again, and then everything changed, so I had to redo everything. I was at like 786,000 infected, but now it's just past 800,000. And just to let you guys know, I'm actually in Malaysia right now, which means that America's day hasn't ended yet. So by the time some of you guys hear this, the numbers are already going to be up. But this is just going to be a quick update for you guys, just so you know what is going on. So right now at the moment in the world, there's over 800,000 infected. We're just creeping towards 1 million, right? So 800,000 infected, and over close to 39,000 deaths, and now 203 countries have been affected. Of course, on top still, number one is the U.S., and they added a little over 21,000 infected people, bringing their total to around 165,000, and about 3,170 to 3,200 deaths at the moment. Italy has added about 4,000 plus. They crossed the 100,000 mark. They're at 102,000 now for infected people who are infected, and their totals for death is 11,591 at this moment. Spain added 7,800, so this is a really huge jump. They're already up at 88,000, and wow, their death, they have over 8,100 deaths. I believe there's another 800 some odd people that died the other day. Interesting thing is Germany is getting pretty high. They're at 67,000 with 600, but only about 650 plus deaths. They added 4,400, but it looks like they're pretty robust and strong, that there's not a lot of people dying there. You know, one of the things that we do have to take into consideration looking at all these numbers, because we might think to ourselves the U.S. is like, oh, it is so bad, it's 165,000. But the thing that matters more is the death rate compared to ratio in the size of the country, because, you know, America's huge compared to Italy, Spain, and Germany. Actually, if you add those three countries together, they wouldn't equal the size of America. So if you look at like the death rate, Italy has, of these big countries that are where there's a lot of infections and a lot of people dying, Italy's way at the top. They're over 11% are dying. Spain is next with roughly about 9%. But if you look at the US and Germany, like Germany, there's only 650 deaths. They're at 0.96%. And the US, it may seem like a lot, but it's not. They're at 1.93%. And even if you look at the UK and France, they're all hovering around 6 to 7%. So we have to look at those death rates as kind of a better indicator of what is going on in the country. Like even if I look in the country I'm in Malaysia right now, Malaysia's they surpassed 2,700 and they're inching closer to 2,800, but they have about 3,000. They have 37 deaths. It's not a lot. Singapore is even safer. Singapore is like 879 infected and only 3 deaths. Hong Kong is very similar too. Hong Kong is like a little over 700 infected, but only 4 deaths. But the countries that are kind of moving and pushing forward a lot is like Indonesia and the Philippines. Both of them are around the same for infections, like a little over 1,500 infections. But Indonesia has 122 deaths and the Philippines has 78 deaths. Right? There's some other countries I haven't even mentioned, like France is over 3,000. Like that's huge. France is over 3,000. The UK just topped over, I think they're around 1,400 right now. So, if we're at 39,000 deaths around there at this moment, if you look at these top 7 countries, they basically are like over 90% of all the deaths. So the question I want to go over today with you guys is the coronavirus like the flu? Is it similar? Because a lot of people you hear on the news is like, "Whoa, come on, man! The influenza, the flu season, they kill more people than they kill way more people than this coronavirus so far. Like the influenza, during flu season, in the world, there's like 200,000 to 300,000 people that die. Think about that, 200,000 to 300,000. So there's more people dying from the influenza. So a lot of people kind of get confused because the flu so far is killing way more, but then they don't shut down anything, right? Nothing shuts down. No one's thinking about lockdowns. It's like, come on, man, is it really that serious? And one of the reasons it's like this is because they call this the novel coronavirus, which means novel means new, right? So it's a new coronavirus, which basically means we don't have a lot of information on it. We just get from what we have from China to Italy, Spain, and now what we have in America. And this is why it's kind of confusing for a lot of people because we're like, it's not really doing that much compared to the seasonal flu. But let me tell you why there's a shutdown. And even if is it that much worse than the seasonal flu or not? Okay? So one of the reasons why there's like epidemics and this pandemic happening, and one of the biggest reasons is because there's a really slow response from countries. And this is why countries like Italy is hit hard, Spain is hit hard, and now the US is really being hit hard too. Think about it. When we first saw what was happening in China, is the first thought in your mind like, oh no, we need to protect ourselves because it's coming over here? Or are we like, man, that sucks for them? Oh my gosh. And then when you hear about like China, they're going to lock down 11 million people in Wuhan, right? Are we thinking to ourselves, that's reasonable? Actually, in our heads, we're actually thinking more of, that is so unreasonable. Why would it's 11? No, that's crazy. Oh, this Chinese government. Oh, these communists. And we kind of have this mentality that it doesn't feel very serious and we don't think it's coming to us next. Because, it's their problem kind of mentality and it's their problem kind of feeling. It's kind of the same thing that happens on a miniaturized scale is when we look out our windows and, most of our countries are in lockdown right now and we're just kind of like, man, doesn't feel like anything's really that bad, does it? And I'm going to give you some of the things, the biggest differences between, the influenza or a flu and the difference in flu season and the difference between this coronavirus that makes this a little bit more dangerous and not similar to the flu, right? We haven't really gotten deep into it yet, but we got to understand why it's like this. So a couple things I want to bring up. Number one is, why is it not like the flu? right? Why is this not like the flu? And the first reason is because of the incubation time, right? There's a time where the symptoms come up. From the time you catch the flu or you catch the coronavirus until the symptoms come out, the flu is roughly around 1 to 4 days. About 1 to 4 days, those symptoms will come out. You're going to be contagious. But the coronavirus is 2 to 14 days. Okay, 2 to 14 days. And there's new studies coming out about people being able to spread the virus even after you've recovered from the coronavirus. And these things are coming out right now. And the thing that makes it even more dangerous is that the coronavirus is contagious even when you're asymptomatic. And the interesting thing is, of all the coronavirus all the infections, over 50% are asymptomatic. Asymptomatic basically just means that there's no symptoms showing at all, but you can still pass it to someone else. And this is why this becomes really, really dangerous. And this is kind of the reason why there's like all these outbreaks, because people are waiting for symptoms to be tested. And this is the reason why Korea did so well, is they tested everyone. Anyone who wanted to test, they can all come and get a test for the coronavirus. And this allowed Korea to quarantine or put the people who have the coronavirus aside and away from the people who don't have it, which is probably the best thing you can do. If you look at them, we were like going nuts thinking, oh my gosh, it's so crazy in Korea. And then now they haven't even hit 10,000 yet. You have 7, 8 other countries hitting 10,000, and Korea hasn't even hit it yet, and they're well past their peak. I believe they already, daily is less than 100 infections now too. So it's pretty interesting for that also. And if you think about this, if you can be contagious while being asymptomatic, if you just start letting everyone go out, just because they don't have symptoms doesn't mean they can't be contagious, right? So it's like, oh, okay, so there's the first one. Now, the second thing that's kind of alarming, and the thing you have to understand, especially in these first world countries, when you look at the SARS epidemic that happened, SARS was very interesting because the moment you got SARS, you have severe symptoms. It's severe. You have to go to the hospital no matter what. And SARS was it was very, very severe. Which means that once you got it, you knew you had it, and you got to go to the hospital. So it's very easy to see. Now, since coronavirus has anywhere ranging from asymptomatic to mild symptoms to severe and to hospitalization, what happens is, think about this. Before the coronavirus, let's just pretend all of us are hanging out in a room and you're just a little sick, and you might think it's the flu, you might think it's a little cold, but regularly, when I'm in American Canada, excuse me, regularly, if I have just mild symptoms, I'll still go out. And it's not a big deal for us, right? When you go to a restaurant and someone has a small cough or whatever it is, it's not like anyone's worried about it. Yeah, it's normal for people to have the flu and not go to the hospital and not get medicine. And even though you have really, really mild symptoms, you're not going to go to the hospital. You're still going to hang out with your friends. You're still going to go out to the restaurants and watch a movie and such, right? And that makes it hard because since we have this type of culture, especially in the Western countries, if you're a little sick, you're not going to the hospital, it makes it very hard for the coronavirus for anyone to just think that they need to get tested. So they'll all just hang out and go out. So just like we always went out and did things and hung out with our friends, even if we had just mild symptoms, that's the thing that makes this even more dangerous because we're contagious even when we don't even have any symptoms. And that brings us to the next point, is the R0. The R0 is a number of how many people that you can infect. So the regular flu virus, right? A regular influenza, for every person that gets the flu, you're basically infecting about 1.2 more people, which basically means that for every person with the flu, about 3 to 4 people will get the flu because of that one person. Okay? Now, if I'm going to take you to show you how big the R0 number is for the COVID virus, it's anywhere from 2 to 3. So you could say on average around 2.5. 2.5, you know what that means? It means that for every person that gets coronavirus, about 22 people will get it. For every person, there are 22 people that will get the coronavirus. Now, think about that number. The flu is 3 to 4, and coronavirus is 22. Now, think about this even more carefully, why it's more dangerous. For the influenza, for a regular flu, only 1 to 2% get hospitalized. In America right now with the coronavirus, about 20% get hospitalized for the coronavirus. You see, this is why when you look out the window and you look out on the streets, it's hard to see what's really happening. The best place to check to see what the real situation of coronavirus is, you got to go to the hospitals. Right? So the last time I was looking at the news, just yesterday, I was looking at the governor, what's his name, Cuomo for New York, because New York's the hardest hit in America. He says basically they're about to hit maximum capacity. So maximum capacity is including the 3,000 ICU beds they already have, plus I think another 3,500 they got. Plus, there's like the USS Comfort, which is I think it's a Navy hospital ship that has 1,000 beds, and they have adding all these things together. They're about to hit maximum capacity in New York, and they still haven't hit the peak. And they say it's not going to come for maybe mid-April. So the best way to see the situation is you got to go to the hospitals or check on the hospitals to see how things are going. Basically, they have enough supplies and protective gear for everyone in New York at the moment, for all the doctors and nurses, for about 2 to 3 weeks. And then they need more supplies. So there's another reason. One of the bigger reasons is 20% need to be hospitalized. And if you actually look at the death rate for the flu is about 0.1 to 0.2%. While at the moment, it's like anywhere from like 1% to 4.5% if you consider the global death rate. But most likely that number is going to go down. So, but it's not going to be as low as the common, like the regular flu in flu season of 0.1 to 0.2%. Korea right now is at 0.6%. And they're testing a lot of people. So even if it's 0.6%, that'll be anywhere from, if you compare that to the common flu, that's going to be about anywhere from about 3 to 4 times more deaths than the common flu. So you kind of think about that. And if we get into like we talked about before, the R naught is so much higher. Like it's 3 to 4 people being infected from one person compared to 22. This is just so infectious. It's so contagious that the number would be ridiculous. And this is why you need to start locking things down. Part of it has to do with culture, how people don't go to the hospital. People don't want to get medicine. People are okay hanging out with people that are a little bit sick. And then on top of it, it spreads very, very quickly. And if it has a much higher death rate, then if it's not contained, then like I want you guys to think about this. If you're already reaching maximum capacity 2 weeks before the peak in, say, America or, say, New York, can you imagine if there was no lockdown, how many more people would be infected? It would be nuts. But the only people that would really see it would be the people in the hospital. And of course, the last thing that makes this, the coronavirus way different than the flu is that the flu has 2 things that the coronavirus doesn't. Number 1, the flu has a vaccine. And number 2, the flu is treatable. On the other hand, coronavirus does not have a vaccine yet, and it's still not treatable. So it's basically all you're doing is making sure that the pain goes down and putting them on respirators and ventilators, whatever it is, right? So this is very interesting because that's a question that I actually was thinking. I only thought about this question because I was talking to a good buddy of mine from New York, and I was like, yeah, you know what? It might not be as bad as we think. Yeah, because, people are out, they're at the parks, everything else. And it really made me think. I was like, yeah, well, maybe it isn't. And so it made me start to think about what to research for today's show. So I hope that kind of helps us to kind of see a little bit differently that, yeah, the coronavirus is not a flu and it's nothing close to a flu. And this lockdown is necessary for now until we get a lot more information. And hopefully, we got to pray for this, that we can get a vaccine as soon as possible. Which leads us to the next two songs. And this song, I was talking to my buddy Darren over there in New York, and this is a song that when I think of this song, him and I used to sing this all the time. Actually, all the guys used to sing this song in the church when I was in New York. So we're going to start with the song, Get Out of Sin, Fight the Devil and Win. And of course, the second song is another good song, a song that I really, really like. It's called Let's Sing Together. So let's listen and sing along to these praise songs.
The devil, leave your sins behind and win. Fight against the slanderers, believe the Lord and win. Disregard the tricks and lies of slanderers and overcome. Our Lord, He is the King of all kings. Our Lord, He will win. Those who will stand with Him on His side, they will win. Prepare everything, tables for us before our enemies. We will fight slanderers, Satan's doom. This rapturous story surely will be fulfilled. God the Spirit and the Son help us. They are on our side. Always pray, prayers are power. Use the word, it's a sword. We will win. Let's give glory to against the devil, leave your sins behind and win. Fight against the slanderers, believe the Lord and win. Disregard the tricks and lies of slanderers and overcome. Our Lord, He is the King of all kings. Our Lord, He will win. Those who will stand with Him on His side, they will win. They will surely succeed. God's prepared everything, tables for us before our enemies. We will fight slanderers, Satan's doom. This rapturous story surely will be fulfilled. God the Spirit and the Son help us. They are on our side. Always pray, prayers are power. Use the word, it's a sword. We will win. Let's give glory to them. God the Spirit and the Son help us. They are on our side. Always pray, prayers are power. Use the word, it's a sword. We will win. Let's give glory to them. We will win. Let's give glory to them. We will win.
arms with me. Lift up your praise. Everyone, let us sing. Glorify the Trinity. In a flash, we transformed. We become heaven's brides. We are theirs for all time. Sing about memories, stories we shared. Everyone join in one heart. Let's dance and sing. Since we know the Trinity's endless love. Joy is ours, life is happy. We'll live with grateful hearts, thankful in spirit, body, and soul. So as we sing, let us rejoice. We'll dance and fall deeper in love. With the Lord we converse joyfully. This is eternal love. This is heaven. Sing about memories, stories we shared. Everyone join in one heart. Let's dance and sing. Since we know the Trinity's endless love. Joy is ours, life is happy. We'll live with grateful hearts, thankful in spirit, body, and soul. So as we sing, let us rejoice. We'll dance and fall deeper in love. With the Lord we converse joyfully. This is eternal love. This is heaven. So as we sing, let us rejoice. We'll dance and fall deeper in love. With the Lord we converse joyfully. This is eternal love. This is heaven. This is eternal love. This is heaven.
And that was Let's Sing Together. And also we listened to Fight the Devil, Fight the Sin, Fight the Devil and Win. Sorry, I was trying to go really deep voice because that song was so gospel. I was like, man, how would you end that song? I'm just like, and thank you everyone for listening to Let's Sing Together, the gospel version. So, yeah, you know, one of the things I actually wanted to do in my life also, actually, I wanted to be able to do like, I'm not announcing like Sunstein, but I wanted to be a weatherman. It's weird, I know. And, you know, the crazier part is, I think I was 5 or 6 when I wanted to be a weatherman. So, yeah, I don't know. But it's cool because I can be on this podcast and pretend to be a weatherman or something along that line. But I do hope that you guys enjoyed those 2 praise songs that sing together. And, oh my gosh, fight the sin. No. Fight against the devil. Something like that. I completely forgot the title already. Which brings me to another funny thing. So I'm not sure if you guys enjoyed yesterday's funny story. But I got another story for you today. Right, I just want to see. You know what? I want you guys to comment on this, because if you don't like these funny stories, please tell me you don't want them. Because if you don't want these stories, like some of them will be funny, some of them will be interesting, some of them will be moving and inspiring too. But I got a story for you guys, and I want you guys to listen to this. I just be honest, comment in it. Don't PM me or DM me. Just comment there. It's like, yeah, it's okay, it's cool. It wasn't funny or whatever it is. Okay, so this is kind of along the lines of yesterday's story. Okay, so this is another friend of mine. This person's been this person's now a blessed family. He's in Korea, and he's been he's been in province like probably early 90s or maybe even earlier than that. And he's been in province for a very, very long time, and he was telling me this story, and it was just amazingly funny, and I don't know why. Maybe it's something to do with this theme that makes me remember it more than anything else, because I'm a guy. Because either way. So here's the story. So in the past, this friend of mine, he's like I said, he's married, he's got kids and everything. But in the past, this guy used to be like total gangster, like Korean mafia. This is like real mafia, real gangster, and he was very loyal. And when he first met Sunsteam, he's like, when you're kind of like the gangster mind, you have a boss and you follow the boss, right? You follow the boss, and whatever the boss says, you do. So when it came to the history, the mindset was still there, and he sees Sunsteam as the boss. So whatever Sunsteam wants, he does. He's going to follow Sunsteam around everything he does. So he went to go live in Wonmyeongdong, and he just followed Sunsteam everywhere he went. Back at this time, this is where, Wonmyeongdong wasn't even really developed that much. And in Wonmyeongdong, they had what you call like a suggestion box, right? Like, go figure, they'd have a suggestion box. Like, I don't think they even have one right now, but they had a suggestion box back then. And all these suggestions keep coming in. And one day, Sunsteam calls my friend into his room. So that's kind of cool that you get to go a private meeting with Sunsteam, right? But he calls Sunsteam calls him into his room, and he's like, okay. He's like, oh yes, you call me, and then he's like, look at these, the feedback from the suggestion box, and he starts reading them out, and he's like, they're all about you. You're too scary. You're too rough with your words. You're too aggressive. And Sunsteam just began to lay into this guy. The guy was on his knees and just really sorry, and he just feels like, oh, I'm so sorry. He's so sorry, and his head is down, and Sunsteam's just laying in, because it's like, come on, like, this is the Holy Land. Why should they be afraid to come here? It's because of you. You're the one who's being like this, and this. And as Sunsteam's rebuking him at this time. Don't ask why I remember these, but he says he starts to feel like gas building up in his stomach, and he's like, oh no, not now. And the whole time he's like, you can't really listen to what Sunsteam's saying, because you're just like, please God, no. And his stomach is beginning to hurt, like, oh, I can't hold it in. So Sunsteam is like, he's like educating him and like, hey, you can't do like this, you can't. And all of a sudden it's like, and Sunsteam stops. And then he says, oh, okay, get out. And he told me that's the time where his gas saved him. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if I should be saying these stories, but if you don't want to hear them, just comment on it. Comment that you don't want to hear these, but this is a real story from a friend of mine. So yeah, okay. So that's my story of the day. I hope that that gave you some joy and some laugh, and if it did, just write, just comment below and just tell me what you thought about it. But I also want you guys to get requests. Request songs, like, I got a call from Youngmin in Malaysia, and she requested a song. Oh, when am I going to hear this song? I saw the interview and I want to hear that song. I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd love to play it. So guys, just send in your requests. Also, if you're a new artist, I would love to hear your music and I would love to play it here on the Morning Star Drive. So I'm very, very open, especially there's a lot of new artists and a lot of talented people in this history, and I really want your work to be shown. So I would love to have a conversation with you and whatnot, also maybe even an interview. So let's go into today's word study, okay? And the word study, we're kind of looking at one of the key points from the Sunday message that says, never forget to live by God's will until the end, okay? Living, right? You got to live God's will until the end. And it's a very interesting thing, and it's something that we've heard many times also. But it really reminded me of the verse in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, which says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Now, why would this remind me of this key point from the message of don't forget to live by God's will until the end? Now, one of the things we're talking about is what is God's will, and when you find God's will, we have to live it until the end. And this is something that's very interesting for me too, and it's something that I do believe that a lot of people are going through right now, especially families too. Families go through a lot, especially because there's lockdown, businesses are closed, you're not making any money, but you have to put food on the table and whatnot also, right? Right now is a hard time when it comes to financially, and it will cause a lot of mental stress also. People are getting discouraged. People are feeling, oh God, why is this happening? But the one thing we have to understand is God works for the good of those who love him. Now, what does that mean? It means that no matter what, if you go to the end of the path that you are on, it'll be good, no matter what. Because God will do, his works will be for the good of those, right, who have been called, for the good of those who love him, for those who have been called according to his purpose, which is all of us here in this history. And God has promised that the ending is going to be good no matter what, which means what does that have to do with my life right now at this situation? You have to know that in God's will, it never ends in a bad way for the people he loves. It'll never end bad. And the only time it'll ever end bad is when you quit in the middle. Let's just say, look at like we talked about a hero yesterday, right? Every hero story, it starts with pain and suffering and sacrifice, being teased and bullied or whatever it is. But in the end, when they work hard and when they put themselves into it and they sacrifice and they struggle, in the end, they become a hero. But can you imagine what if they quit in the middle? If you quit in the middle during the suffering, if you quit in the middle during the pain, during the time you need to sacrifice but you don't, and it's really difficult on you, then that's where it ends. It ends in pain. It ends in suffering. It ends in a position where you're thinking, God, why did you do this to me? The reason why the philosophy of do it until the end, why would Sunseam give this philosophy to everyone all the time, almost to the point we're sick of it? Like, do you know that? Do you know the philosophy do it to the end? We're like, of course we do. Everyone knows that philosophy in this history. Everyone knows it. But why would he say it? The philosophy and the way that Sunseam lives is always received because of his life experience. And if you look at his life, he always talks about it was bad here, but look at me now. I was hungry before, but I'm not hungry anymore. God promised me I would not go hungry, and I believed it, and I did until the end, and now I never go hungry. I actually have more food than I need, that even when there's 500 people there, I have enough for the 500 people. If there's 1,000, I have enough for the 1,000. Everything is from his experience. And that's why he can confidently tell each and every one of us that if you do it until the end, if you do God's will until the end, it is guaranteed to be good in the end. And that's why you have to see things through till the end. I know it sucks, and I know it's hard, and I know that it's terrible at certain times. You're just like, what's the point? Is there any point of going forward? Is there any point of doing anything better than I'm doing right now? Might as well just quit. The only time it's going to end bad is if you succumb to Satan, if you succumb to your own thoughts and think that this is not God's will, or this is not going to end well. You have to realize From that scripture, I'll read it one more time. Romans chapter 8, verse 28 says, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." And that includes every single one of you right now. And we have to realize this, is that if you quit, it ends bad. But if you do it until the end, you see God's will, and you push it, and you do it till the end, it is guaranteed to be a great ending, right? That I hope that really was something that can help a lot of you too. But I also want to play another song. Okay, and this song, of course, at the end, I always play a song that I like. This song is from one of my favorite singers ever, because not only because she's Canadian, it's because she's a great singer. Her name's Celine Dion. Okay, and this song is called "I'm Your Angel." I'm Your Angel. And this is about overcoming. Like, if you even look at the very, very first lyric, it's "No mountains too high for you to climb, and all you have to do is have some climbing faith. And there's no river too wide for you to make it across, and all you have to do is believe it when you pray," right? "And then the morning will come, and every day will be bright as the sun." So cast your fears on him, right? And this is a great song. Even though it's not even a gospel song, it literally is a gospel song if you listen to the lyrics, right? So today, of course, I'm someone who is a big advocate of independent artists and new artists. So I am going to show you I'm going to let you listen to another cover, right? "I'm Your Angel" is going to be covered by Katrina Velarde and also featuring Budakel. Right, Budakel is a group of 3 guys. So these guys are great. I'll leave the link in the description. So everyone enjoy "I'm Your Angel" by Katrina Velarde and Budakel.
No mountains too high for you to climb. All you have to do is have some climbing faith. Oh yeah. No rivers too wide for you to make it across. All you have to do is believe it when you pray.
And then you will see the morning will come, and every day will be bright as the sun. All of your fears, cast them on me. I just want you to see.
I'll be your cloud up in the sky. I'll be your shoulder when you cry. I hear your voices when you call me. I am your angel. And when all hope is gone, I'm here. No matter how far you are, I'm near. It makes no difference who you are. I am your angel. I'm your angel.
I saw the teardrops and I heard you cry. All you need is time. Seek me and you shall find. Oh, you have everything and you're still lonely. It don't have to be this way. Let me show you a better day. And then you will see the morning will come, and all of your days will be bright as the sun. All of your fears, just cast them on me. How can I make you see?
I'll be your cloud up in the sky. I'll be your shoulder when you cry. I hear your voices when you call me. I am your angel. And when all
matter how far you are, I'm near. It makes no difference who you are. I am your angel. I'll be your cloud up in the sky. I'll be your shoulder when you cry. I'll hear your voices when you call me. I am your angel. And when all hope is gone, I'm here. No matter how far you are, I'm here. It makes no difference who you are. I am your angel. I'll be your cloud in the sky. I'll be your shoulder when you cry. I'll hear your voices when you call me. I am your angel. And when all hope is gone, I'm here. No matter how far you are, I'm here. It makes no difference who you are. I am your angel. I am your
And that was I'm Your Angel from Christina Velarde and Budikel. And originally that was sung by, of course, Celine Dion. So I'm hoping that everyone had a wonderful time today on today's Morning Star Drive on 117.8. I am very grateful and thankful for all of you for joining in. And hopefully we'll get to see you again tomorrow. Everyone have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday and a wonderful Wednesday service.
Believe in yourself and believe in somebody.
Gotta believe in yourself. Cause no one else will.
You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful.